And we're back with another edition of the State of Sports podcast. I am one of your hosts, Nick Ricario.
I'm Matt Leong.
I'm Mac Dolphy.
And I'm Peyton Smith.
And on today's special episode, we have a preview of the MLB Playoffs. Well, at least the first part of the MLB Playoffs, the wild card round. With this 2020 expanded playoff format, there's a lot to break down. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start in the American League. The first matchup of the bracket's going to be the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Toronto Blue Jays. What are your guys' initial reactions and predictions for the series?
I think Toronto is an interesting team. I think they've had a really good stretch to get into the postseason, but I think it's going to all come to a very, very sudden halt with this Tampa Bay Rays team. This is a Rays team. I think this is one of the better Rays teams since their expansion since they came into the league and as an expansion team. To be completely honest with you, much more complete team. The bullpen is really good. The front end rotation is going to dominate. When you're rolling out Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Yarborough, you're going to have a tough time. So my prediction is Rays handedly in 2 games.
Peyton, you got anything?
Well, all I've really known the Blue Jays to be is just they survive off their bats a lot of the time. And I just know from last season carrying over to this season, Tampa Bay's pitching has not faded at all. And so I think that's what's just going to carry them through this series. I don't think the Blue Jays bats are going to come alive or like at all pretty much against the Rays. So I'm going to be with Matt here. Just the Rays all the way. No problem.
Mac?
Yeah, I kind of have to sadly agree with both of these guys. The Blue Jays feel-good story is more than likely at an end right here. Like Matt said, the pitching is just too much to overcome for Mr. Bichette and little Vladdy. So I think it's going to be a quick 2-0 for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play devil's advocate and say the Jays win because that's way out there. I want to save the hot takes for another segment of this podcast, but I say 2-1 Rays. I think the Jays are gonna throw everything that they can in Game 1 just to put a lot of pressure on the Rays come Game 2. Say the Blue Jays win Game 1. So I say 2-1 because I think Toronto's gonna throw everything that they got Game 1. Toronto's going to throw everything that they got Game 1, try to put the pressure on Tampa Bay. If they don't win Game 1, it's over 2-0 easy. Without further ado, next series, the winner of that series, the Toronto-Tampa Bay series, will play the winner of this upcoming series, the Cleveland Indians versus the New York Yankees in Cleveland. Obviously, there's no fans in the stadiums, but you have to think for some pitchers, the mound, just having the visual cues behind the plate, that's going to help them. What do you guys see for this 4 or 5 seeded matchup in the AL?
This is one of my series to look out for because you've got great production on both sides of the ball from these teams. Obviously, the bats for the Yankees and the pitching for the Yankees as well, and of course the pitching for the Indians. The first game is going to be Shane Bieber versus Garrett Cole. So that should be a fun pitchers battle to tune into. But ultimately, I'm going to say New York has the edge with the bats here. So I'm going to say they take this one 2-1.
I am going to agree with you just because that's I hate going for the Yankees, but I know better than to doubt them in the early rounds of the playoffs. So I've known Cleveland's pitching has been, one of the better pitching staffs of the MLB, but I know the Yankees have put up big runs in playoff games, so it's hard for me to go against them. I could see the Indians getting 1 game, but other than that, nah, it's gonna be New York for sure.
I'm gonna have to say that, for me, it's gonna come down to be honest, it's gonna come down to one starting pitcher for me. It'll come down to J Happ. For the Yankees, because I have no doubt that Garrett Cole will go deep into a ball game. But J Happ, he's been pitching really well down the stretch, and that's a really good sign for Yankee fans. But if he does not show up, and he'll probably start Game 2, if he doesn't win that game, I think that the Yankees have a lot of flaws in the bullpen as well. So and I think Cleveland is a very formidable team. So for me, I think the Yankees will probably win Game 1. It's probably going to be like 1-0. But if J Hap doesn't show up in Game 2, the Indians are going to win the series. That's my prediction.
So you're saying 2-1 Indians?
2-1 Indians.
Odds on for you.
J Hap. Odds on. It's more than likely it'll be 2-1 Indians unless J Hap comes and throws like he has been down the stretch, which I don't believe just because of the way he's trended as a pitcher his entire career. So.
Okay. I gotta say, man, I'm really thinking 2-1 as well because you don't want to discount the Yankees. The Yankees have played well late, really down the stretch. Luke Voigt's played great. LeMahieu's won another batting title, this time in the AL. So you can't discount that there. There's obviously production. But in my opinion, the short porch in Yankee Stadium really has helped Luke Voigt's case for MVP. So I got to say Indians in 3, just to be safe. Got to give the Yankees props. But at the same time, if the Indians win Game 1, it's over. It's over. It's 2-0 Indians. I think the short porch has benefited the Yankees for way too long. Yeah. I think the bats are going to, for the best, in my opinion, I think they're going to die in Progressive Field. Yeah, Progressive Field out in Cleveland.
Yep.
They're gonna the New York Bats are gonna die out there. I think Francisco Lindor is gonna have another great series. J Ram's gonna have a good series. I'm hoping for the best for the Indians, and I think a 2-1 or 2-0 division or wild card round win is gonna prove that. On to the next series, the 3-6 matchup. The winner of the AL Central versus the second place of the AL West, the Twins versus the Astros. What do you guys see here? This is played in the Twins Stadium out in Minnesota because they are the higher seed. What do you guys think?
Not the Astros, please. That's all I'm
we all know our moral picks, but let's just be realistic here in terms of just like
being realistic. I kind of want to say the Astros are going to win, just because I feel like they are carrying that chip, like it's us against the world again. Mm-hmm. So like, you know what, we're gonna go out and prove to everybody that, you know, this wasn't a fluke. But of course, I'm still not gonna root for them. But for some reason, I feel like they are really going to carry that. Like I said, us against everybody, and they might just pull it off. So I don't want to give a prediction just because I don't want to say they're going to win, but don't be surprised if Houston pulls out of this one.
Okay. Mac, what you
got? This one's kind of tough for me to call. Obviously, I have a lot of hatred in my heart for the Houston Astros for obvious reasons. But to me, these teams seem pretty evenly matched, honestly. Obviously, the loss of Justin Verlander for the Astros is a massive detriment. Jose Altuve really not looking his best throughout this entire season. I think this is his lowest batting average he's ever had. And I think the thing that's going to swing the series, honestly, is momentum. And momentum is on the Twins' side right now. The Twins are coming into this one finishing on a 16-8 run. And the Astros are basically the mirror image of them in the other direction. They're finishing 8-16. They kind of stumbled into the playoffs. So I'm going to give the slight edge to Minnesota, but I do think this is going to be one of the closer series we see from the first round. But I am going to say Minnesota wins 2-1.
Okay. Matt, what you got?
I've got Minnesota 2-0. And the reason for that is their pitching staff and the bullpen. And we all know the hitting right now. 40-year-old Nelson Cruz, almost leading the league in home runs, and you got Max Kepler, you got Byron Buxton, and like Eddie Rosario. Plus, you got the infield who's stacked too: Miguel Sano, Marwin Gonzalez, Josh Donaldson. And then when you look at, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to give a shout out to the two Dodger alumni in Kenta Maeda and Rich Hill, because they are going to be huge in this series for Minnesota. If they win this series, it's going to be because Kenta threw like 8 innings of 1-run ball. And that's not even, I haven't even mentioned Jose Barrios, who is their designated ace. So I think in this short series, I think Minnesota has the advantage. Like Max said, Houston's stumbling into this playoff playoff run. So I think that Minnesota will take this handedly 2-0.
I gotta say 2-0 in my heart, what I want to happen, obviously. But I think I got to be realistic, 2-1. I think the bats on Houston, even with cheating or not, they're decent enough to get one game out of the Twins. But at the same time, 2-0 seems very realistic. The reason being, in the Twins' favor, is that look at up and down. You have three pitchers, three starting pitchers, like confirmed that can go playoff games. Rich Hill, Kenta Maeda, Jose Barrios. That right there. So it's not like you're saying, oh, we can't use bullpen arms on day 1 or day 2 because we may need a bullpen day game 3. No, that's not going to happen because you already have guys who can do that. You're not worrying like the Padres, which we'll touch on, who are worrying about who's going to be our third starter. Say we do go at game 3. The Twins don't have that problem, so I think they're going to be able to use their bullpen really effectively, really get the most out of their guys, and not being scared to throw them in high leverage situations without compromising them for game 3. So with that being said, I think comfortable 2-1, but possibly 2-0 for the Twins. Last series in the AL, the Oakland Athletics in the O.Co Coliseum take on the Chicago White Sox, the first of the AL wildcards. Peyton, Oakland, can they get it done in this 3-game series?
I want to say they do. But the key to that is they have to make sure if they reach into their bullpen, they got to reach into the bullpen with in a low-scoring game. The runs have to be kept low for the starting pitching for the A's because that's just been known to kill them in the past in postseason play. So as long as they can, get out in front early like they usually do and then get some good outings from their starters, then they should be okay.
Okay. Mac, what you got?
I'm going to have to give this one to the A's as well. Even though they don't have Matt Chapman, I still think, like Peyton said, as long as they can do run control on the other side of the ball, they got the bats to bolster their own pitching. So I think, truthfully, I'll give it. I'm going to be bold. I'm going to be bold on this one. I'm going to say the A's take it 2-0.
Matt?
Wow. That's a hot take. This is a tough one. I think it's going to be 3. And I think the only reason it'll be 3 is because the fact that the White Sox have Lucas Giolito, and he'll probably go out and win game 1 for the White Sox, but I don't think that they have the depth, and that's no disrespect to like Dallas Keuchel, but to be completely honest with you, that team does not have the pitching depth, in order to get where they need to be against this A's team. And even Peyton was talking about keeping the runs low. I think the runs will be kept low from the starting pitcher. The starting pitchers this season have been incredible, with Frankie Montas and Jesus Luzardo. Like, those guys are flamethrowers, and they are going to keep runs low. And runs are going to be a premium in this series specifically, especially in games 1 and 2. But if they can just squeeze out runs, I think it's funny. You look at this A's team and you don't really think too much of them, just based off of name value, but you realize that this team is actually has a lot of pop in their lineup, especially in the middle of the lineup with like Laureano, Olsen, and Piscotty, who you wouldn't think like to be like, oh, that's the 3 best hitters on your team right now, but that's the reality, and they are actually hitting very well. Even though Olsen doesn't have the average, he's always a home run threat. So I'm going to say the Oakland Athletics in 3 games.
I got to go 3 games as well. Obviously, you're right. Lucas Giolito, ace on the pitching staff for the Chicago White Sox, probably the best pitcher throughout the series between both teams. I don't know if you guys agree on that, but I believe so. He's probably going to win the Sox game 1. At the same time, you can't, like Matt said, Frankie Montas, Jesus Luzardo have been pitching great this past year, and you have to think that for young guys like them, playing at their home ballpark is really going to help calm their nerves in this game. You do have to keep in mind guys like Tim Anderson, guys who just work counts, get on base, especially in a non-home run park such as O.Co. Is it still called O.Co?
I'm not sure.
Oh, just the Oakland Coliseum. Okay, from the Coliseum. It's just you have to be aware of teams playing small ball. And as much as the White Sox have been hitting it out of the park with guys like Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, you also have to keep in mind if they play small ball, this may be tough. They can really challenge you because you have to. As a pitcher, you're thinking, okay, I got to protect. You have to take power out of the equation here. You have to take the Chicago White Sox power out of the equation. So you may have to give them some on bases. You may have to give them some runners on base. And say they do hit a single with a runner on second, that could be a run right there, a crucial run in a 3-game series. But I still have the Oakland A's winning it 2-1. It's going to be pretty close. I think this is going to be the tightest series of the American League so far.
One quick thought. I am extremely excited. And for those of you, this is going to be my one, you have to see this guy if he appears in a game. It's Garrett Crochet, however you say his name. He is the lefty who just got called up. He's 21 years old. He just got drafted this past year. He's from the left-handed side. He throws 102 miles an hour. He is probably going to be one of the most exciting young arms to continue to play in this game. And to see him have a postseason appearance when he's 21 years of age is going to be very, very exciting. So definitely watch out for Garrett Crochet or Shea or I don't know how you say it. European names are a mystery to me. But if you get a chance, definitely tune into the game if he takes the mound because it's going to be flamethrowing all over the place.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Pitchers Nation on Instagram because I've been seeing Crochet all over that page lately. It's been fun to watch.
Oh yeah, you have to say especially with his mechanics, he's not a guy that you're saying, oh, Tommy John, is going to happen during his career. No, he's got those Lucas Giolito mechanics where you really build the power from the legs up, and really have that drive leg be what helps carry that momentum, and then your arms just along for the ride, and it's not like you're putting a ton of force behind it. So hopefully he lasts. You're right, Matt. It's been a pleasure to watch him so far, watch the highlights that I have been able to see, so hopefully he sticks around the game for a long time. But without further ado, let's start at the bottom of the National League postseason bracket, so the 2 and the 7 seed, because I know the 2 series at the top we're both going to want to talk about, Mac, you and me. Let's start with the 2 and 7. In SunTrust Park in Atlanta, Georgia, we have the Braves going up against the Cincinnati Reds. I have a hot take, but I'll save it for for after you guys go. So whoever wants to go ahead, what's your guys' prediction for the series?
I got Braves in 3, and that's my honest take. Just because at the beginning of the season, we kind of did a fun little thing where we had a round table discussion at State of Sports talking about who would be interesting if they made the playoffs, and I said the Braves, just because they have a ton of pop in that lineup, and the pitching rotation's been okay. It hasn't been spectacular, but it's been pretty good. I wouldn't say that it's not gonna be 2-0 either way. I think it's gonna be 3 games no matter what, but I just happen to think that it's gonna be 3 games to Atlanta, and I think this one is almost honestly one of the more coin tossy matchups in the entire playoffs.
Peyton?
I'm also going to – oh, sorry. Go ahead, Peyton.
I was just – I'm thinking about it, and I know, I agree that it's a coin toss matchup, but I feel like it's one of those coin toss matchups where it's just really just going to favor one team throughout the whole series. And I really think it's just going to be the Braves who are really just going to come out, mean business, and just get the job done, quick and easy, 2 games, honestly. So, it's, like Matt said, I haven't been too big on their pitching. Even from last season, you can tell the pitching obviously needed some work to actually make, significant impact in the playoffs. But I feel like this is a matchup where it doesn't really matter. I don't think they need too hot of pitching to take out the Reds. So, their bats will be able to carry them through this. So I say 2-0 them. 2-0 Braves.
Mac?
I totally agree. I think Cincy's biggest strength is their starting pitching, and I think unless you have seriously elite starting pitching in the postseason, I don't think it's as big of a factor as bats are. And the Braves definitely have the advantage when it comes to the bats. The other thing that they have the advantage in, in my opinion, is the postseason experience. They haven't had a ton of success in recent years, but personally, I think that's going to get them over the hump this time because since he hasn't been to the playoffs for a little bit, and I don't think Power can just come out and save this team, especially not in Game 1. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Braves, and I'm going to be lazy and piggyback off the other two guys' picks as well. I'll say it's 2-1.
2-1. Dang, I gotta say, hot take. 2 Reds. I really think the 3-headed rotation, especially the top playoff rotation when it comes to Trevor Bauer, whether you want to put Sonny Gray or Luis Castillo at 2 and then the other at 3. I think those are just really good pitchers who have enough movement to keep the bats of Atlanta out of the power or the home run column and obviously the run column. I do think Freddie Freeman's going to get his due in this series. He's going to produce, but I don't know if guys like Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Adam Duvall are going to produce. Dansby Swanson's not a real threat with the bat in terms of guys you're thinking in terms of postseason production. And you're right. The Braves could possibly easily neutralize the Reds' bats. However, I'm thinking that the momentum that the starting pitching is that's going to give the Reds is going to help them maybe wake up the bats somehow. I don't know whether it's going to be a pitcher's going to have to get a hit, or no, that's right. No, there's DHs. I just think that the starting pitching for the Reds is too strong to ignore. As great as the power is in the Braves lineup, I think the Reds can pull it off. And once they grab momentum, and I think Trevor Bauer is going to be very fiery coming out the gates Game 1. And if he gets the Game 1 win, watch out 2-0 series for the Atlanta Reds.
You want to I'm gonna really quickly interject here. I think my extremely hot take will be that the Reds' fate of their series will be decided in the first 4 innings that they are on defense.
On defense.
So when their pitcher is out there, so if Trevor Bauer goes out there and he's their ace, he's the guy that you're expecting to have a fiery outing. If he goes out there and goes four innings and gives up like 4 or 5 runs, they're toast.
Oh yeah.
I think they flop. I just think not to say I don't want that to happen. I want there to be really good pitching matchups, but I think it won't even be a contest. It's not like in other series where if Garrett Cole gets out there for the Yankees and gives up 4 runs, then you're like, okay, we can recover with that because we have great bats. Whereas Cincy's lineup isn't nearly as powerful as other lineups in the National League. So if Bauer goes out there and lays a goose egg of an outing, they're already toast. That's my hot take to your hot take.
Okay, fair enough. Next series, playing the winner of the Atlanta-Cincinnati series, is the winner of the 3-seeded Chicago Cubs and the 6-seeded Miami Marlins. First of all, we have to give props to the Miami Marlins, having, I think, an 100-loss season last year, and coming back and making it to the playoffs. Like, that's unheard of. Props to them, whether it's the expanded playoffs or not. Everyone was in the same boat, and the Miami Marlins just happened to make it to the playoffs, be one of the top 16 teams in the league. Predictions on the series?
I'll be honest with you. The Marlins have pretty much flown under my radar for basically this entire season. I know they're a good team. I know they're formidable. But there's one reason and one reason only that I'm taking them to win this series, and that is the Marlins have been to the postseason 2 times. Both times, they won the World Series. So to get here again and to lose in the first round, I don't see that happening.
I'm going to agree with Mac here.
Let's go.
Wow.
And the reason I do that is it's a hot take just because of the fact that both times that the Marlins have won the World Series, they were not the best team by a long shot.
Yes.
And so I can see them winning the first 2 games out of nowhere and like 2-1, 3-2 type of wins and just running into the National League Division Series. Well, they'll probably get stomped, but I don't know, man. I'm here for let's just ship it in for Miami this year and just say go ahead, Miami, take your dubs.
Peyton?
And that's what
Honestly, it'd be the perfect season for that. So, like, I'm here for it. Like, do I think it's going to happen? No, but
You've been high on the Cubs the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So like, that's why. Like, I can't switch up on the Cubs as much as I'd love to see the Marlins just take over the MLB at this point. I can't go against the Cubs at this moment, so I'm sorry.
What you got for the series score, Peyton?
I don't even want to give Miami a game, but I will, so I'll say 2-1.
See, here's the thing. I vibe with both your arguments, but I gotta say, I think realistically it's Cubs, but how can you not like this Miami team? I think the starting pitching is surprising. A guy like Sixto Sanchez has been playing really great. I think they're number 2 starter for the Miami Marlins. I know their bats have come alive. Key veteran additions, as I see Matt's camera. key veteran additions such as Starling Marte. In addition to pieces like Brian Anderson having resurgent seasons, rookies like Jazz Chisholm. Just a host of players that are all contributing at a good clip, which is helping Miami get into this postseason. I say 2-1 Cubs, but props to the Miami Marlins for making it to the playoffs. I think that's something that can't be understated. Shout out to Derek Jeter for kind of like righting his image, I guess, after like he fire sold the team back in 2015. I don't know, that good job for Derek Jeter.
2020 is a weird year, man. The Marlins made the playoffs.
Yeah. On to the next series. The 4-seeded San Diego Padres, my San Diego Padres, face the 5-seeded St. Louis Cardinals in Petco Park in sunny San Diego. Let's start with Mac. Let's get the Dodger opinion out of the way. What you got, Mac? What you got?
All right. First of all, I don't like the disrespect in your tone when you said that.
I'm being factual.
Anyways, no. So, I mean, it really does me as a Dodgers fan to say this, but San Diego is, in my opinion, the second best team in the league this year, right after the Dodgers, and I really don't think it's close. Tatis has been incredible. Machado's returned to form. I forget his name, but that second baseman who's really young,
Cronenworth.
Thank you. Cronenworth's been freaking awesome. The pitching's been good. The bullpen's been good. I know I had talks about the Cardinals not too long ago on one of our previous podcasts, and I think all of us kind of had the same sentiment where we were like, yeah, they're probably good enough to get into the playoffs, but to make any real noise would be a stretch. And they pretty much picked the worst straw you could pick when it comes to opponents for their first round series. This is going to be a total bash, and Slam Diego is going to win 2-0. It's not going to be hard.
Okay, Mac, I see you. Peyton?
Honestly, I agree with Mac. Like, San Diego, I mean, when the season started, I was like, okay, I got to check out San Diego. I got to see how well they're doing. Like, if they're actually, like, worth the hype or the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And watching them, they don't need many innings to, wear you out. Like, all it takes is a short 2-3 inning burst of production from them, and it's just sayonara, whoever they're going up against. And so that's what it's hard. It's hard to get down against this team and work your way back. So in St. Louis this season, I mean, they haven't made much noise to where I needed to pay attention to them. So that's the only reason why I'm saying Padres in 2 as well.
Matt.
Oh, this is depressing. But it's good. It's almost kind of like a good kind of feeling to be in this spot, because I feel like the Padres. So I've been talking about the Padres. I've been discussing with Padre fans over the last couple of years, and I said that eventually they're going to have to make a couple of moves to acquire talent that's going to help them with a postseason push. And with the acquisitions of, what did they get? Tommy Pham this year?
Yes, Tommy Pham this year.
So they got Tommy Pham this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the final piece in my opinion. That was the final piece. They needed a solidified left fielder, and then with the emergence of Jake Cronenworth, now you fill the hole at second base. Then you go out and get, now it's unfortunate with the health issues of Mike Clevenger, but you got Mike Clevenger, which is huge. That's a huge shot in the arm of the rotation. And you have now a solidified closer. You have Trevor Rosenthal, and this team is scary, genuinely scary. If you're the rest of the league, you should be cowering in fear because of the fact that the San Diego Padres have arrived and they are not going away anytime soon. But with that said, I do think they run into one game where they get punched in the mouth by a St. Louis starting pitcher, because St. Louis has a really good starting rotation this year. And I think it's just going to be one game where like Wainwright or whoever, or Kim or Flaherty goes off for 7 innings and the bats go quiet for a game, but that will not stop the Padres. Padres 2-1 easily. And those 2 games that they win will be blowouts.
Okay.
Okay, I see you guys. You guys.
He's like, thanks, guys.
I was like the consumer, and you guys were selling me the product that the Padres were going to win. See, here's the thing: as a Padres fan, is there superstition creeps in? The times that we've lost in the postseason, we've always lost to the Cardinals. Happened in 2006, the last time we made the postseason too. But I don't know. The slump down the stretch got me scared. Got me a little worried. I was worried about Tatis. I was worried about Machado not sticking around. But the last season against the Giants seemed to be a springboard for them. Tatis is back, 2 homers in 3 days or 4 games, or whatever it may be. Machado's playing well. Will Myers is playing well. Probably NL Comeback Player of the Year. Sure, we don't have Mike Clevenger to start out the series. Maybe not Dinelson Lamet. I know he was reported to have bicep tightness, the same thing that Clevenger had, but a little bit more severe for Clevenger, that is. So he may not be able to go during the series, but I know we have Zach Davies game 1. That's huge. He's a game manager. Not to say like he's like a fair weather quarterback in the football sense, but he gets the job done not by strikeouts, but by limiting good contact. And I think that's something that St. Louis may try to exploit. And as long as Zach Davies keeps the ball out of the center of the bat, that's going to be good for them, or that's going to be good for the Padres. Game 2 starter and Game 3 starter are a little iffy. Chris Paddock has been off most of this year. He's had, I think, like a +4 ERA throughout the whole season. Not super sold on him. I know he's worked in a cutter, which, hey, that's great. It adds a 4th pitch, adds another dimension to the fastball slider curveball combo that he already has, but hasn't worked out to much effectiveness. Hopefully he can go strong in Game 2. In Game 3, it's probably going to be a bullpen game if Dinelson Lamet can't get back in time. From there, I'm hoping that the bullpen arms can take us home. Young lefty Adrian Morejon. We have Drew Pomeranz, second stint with the Padres. Guys like Pierce Johnson. Obviously, like you guys said, Trevor Rosenthal. And then I haven't even mentioned most of the lineup, but I think you guys sold me on the lineup because I was scared. I've been scared. Like I have to mentally prepare myself for a potential letdown. As a Padres fan who hasn't experienced playoff baseball in 14 years, like how am I supposed to do that? And I had to prepare myself. But you guys sold me on my team, so I'm taking my team 2-0. I think the Bats get it done, and we ride into Chavez Ravine. Segue into. Actually, wait, no. Is that? No, wait, is it? I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think about the home sites for the division series, but I don't think that happens. I think
it'll be in Arlington for
I was
the
gonna say it'll be in Arlington. We're not
yeah.
going to Chavez Ravine. We don't even want to deal with Chavez Ravine. But we'll take Arlington when we meet either the Dodgers or the Brewers. So that's a segue into the next series. Mac, we'll let you go last on this as the resident Dodger fan. I'll give my first take. I see 2-1 Dodgers. I don't see any reason, and it's a comfortable 2-1. It's kind of like the Padres. The one game that will be a nail biter. Christian Yelich is going to have a good game. Orlando RC is going to have a good game. Keston Hiura is going to have a good game. Dodgers bats are going to go quiet for one night. The pitching may not be able to get it done, so I say 2-1 Dodgers, but that's only because there's too much talent on the Brewers side to discredit them for 2-0, but at the same time, the Dodgers are just way too good. So, yeah, 2-1. Easy. for the Dodgers.
I got him. I got him 2-0. Like this is a 2-0 Dodgers series. Like there's no question about it in my mind. I don't know. Like I do have respect for like Christian Yelich and Keston Hiura and those guys, but it's the Dodgers, and it's the thing is, in past years, I would have been able to say, well, I mean, honestly, like the bullpen's okay, but if you get on starting pitching early, then you're good. Whereas the Dodgers have effectively made a baseball game a like 4 inning game because all the starting pitcher has to do, you could look at a stat line from Dodgers pitching, and if someone went 3 innings plus, that means they went 3 innings and they started the 4th inning and they went straight to the bullpen. I wouldn't be uncomfortable if I was a Dodger fan because you have like 7 dudes who are lights out that could throw up zeros left and right. So that's my rationale, because you don't have to burn the bullpen, but you could use the bullpen like liberally, and it would be fine for the Dodgers moving forward into the next series. But it's going to be 2-0. The crazy part is that you have guys who are on this lineup who are hot, and some guys who are not, and they're still this good, and that's the scary part. Because even if the guys who are hot go cold, and the guys who are cold just get to par, this is already an above average. They already in that scenario would be an above average National League team, and they are going to beat this Brewer team 2-0. That's my opinion.
I agree. I mean, I feel like this is just going to be a cakewalk for the Dodgers, honestly. Like, I feel like it's going to be 2 games, not even close. Like Matt was saying, like, this team is just too good. Like, if they just play at par, they don't even have to play at a playoff intensity, really. They can really just play like any other regular season game, and it's no problem getting through this squad. Like, like Nick said, they had a lot of talent on the Brewers have a lot of talent on their side, but this talent doesn't even hold a candle to the Dodgers, and so it's like, I just don't even think it's going to be close, sadly. So, yeah, 2-0 Dodgers.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that from all of you guys. I'm glad you guys are taking a serious look at baseball this year and not letting your hearts tell you what you think the series is going to be. But anyways, honestly, I think I'm probably the most concerned person here out of all of us, and obviously it's because I'm a Dodgers fan. So, like, Nick is anxious with the Padres. I'm anxious with the Dodgers, of course.
I think
the most
anxious.
important.
You know you're going to get let down in October, so
You're not wrong. I know the outcome that's coming. You know, there's no reason to fight it at this point. But I think the most important thing for this series is, number one, we have Walker Buehler back, which is awesome. He was dealing with a blister on his finger, and it seems to have resolved itself. So that's a huge part of this postseason overall, not just for this series, to have him back. The second thing is, I think the most important part to win the series with the Brewers, and it'll be a good tune-up for us actually going further into the rounds in the playoffs, is to produce runs early. Because Devin Williams and Josh Hader, the back end of the bullpen for Milwaukee, those guys are not to be messed with. Those guys are serious closers, and if we don't have leads heading into the 8th and 9th innings, it's a very real possibility that we will not be able to score for the 8th and 9th innings. So I think it'll set a really good precedent for what the Dodgers will need to do in the later rounds. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you guys. I think it'll be a 2-0. I think, honestly, as a Dodgers fan, it'll be a disappointment if it's anything but a 2-0. So, yeah, there's the take from me.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do you guys – so do these extra inning rules carry over to the playoffs?
Ooh,
oh, that's a great question.
That's a
That's a
great
I think
question.
they do.
I think they do as well.
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay.
Honestly, if they do, because I think that benefits the Dodgers heavily.
Yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
They are stupid. They're stupid good with runners in scoring position, and I just looked it up. They've only lost one series all year. So one three game series all year. They've split a couple, but they have not lost the 3. They split against the Padres and they split against the Giants. But they have not lost a 3-game series all year, and I do not think there will be a first this week. I think that's not going to even. I don't even think that's in my mind. It's not even me. Like, usually sometimes I'm overly confident if I'm really like trying to root against a team, I'm overly confident. But this is not coming from that place. This is coming from a place where I am genuinely convinced that this team is not going to lose a 3-game series randomly with their season on the line.
Definitely.
That's it.
So that wraps it up. Before we go, let's just put out our hot takes. I'll say mine. Cincinnati Reds in 2.
Cincinnati Reds in 2. Oh, I thought we were gonna do like super hot takes, like World Series picks.
Overall?
No,
Yeah.
we'll do that once the playoff picture solidifies and we
Ah,
get out
yes,
of this
that's right,
initial
that's
state
right.
of rounds. We'll come back with a follow-up episode on Friday for you guys to listen to and take our opinions on the wild card round and how it affects the division champion and World Series going forward.
Oh, my hot take is that Atlanta stomps Cincinnati.
Okay.
Wow, opposing hot takes.
Opposing hot
Interesting.
takes.
Yep, I like it.
Peyton.
It's good.
Oh, I can give you a hot take. I'll say Fernando Tatis has a 3-home run game in the series.
Jeez, that's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
Winning a lot of points right now with me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give a pretty unrealistic hot take for this one. I think at some point in the first 2 games of the Rays Blue Jays series, I think a Tampa Bay Rays pitcher, I don't know who it's going to be, but I think a Tampa Bay Rays pitcher will throw a complete game shutout. I think it's going to happen.
Wow.
It's super unlikely because they're going to go to the bullpen for sure because it's the playoffs. But I think it's
shout out
the
to
only
my-
team with the possibility of that happening.
Shout out to my boy Blake Snell. He needs it, bro. Give it to
Yes,
that
sir.
man.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, and I think with that, it's going to come to the end of our wild card preview of the Major League Baseball playoffs. I'm your host, Nick Ricaria.
I'm Matt Leong.
I'm Mac Dolphy.
And I'm Peyton Smith.
And we'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.
Peace out.
Hey everyone, it's Nick from State of Sports. Thanks again for tuning in to another edition of the State of Sports podcast. If you don't already know, we are on all of your podcast streaming platforms. That means Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, just to name a few. If you're on Apple, make sure just to give us that 5-star rating. It really helps us expand this podcast that much further. Don't forget to check us out on social media. That means at State of Sports Pod on Instagram, at State of Sports SD on Twitter, and we have a YouTube channel, State of Sports. That's right. So for those who are on YouTube already, thanks for watching, and those who aren't, make sure to give us the like, comment, subscribe, you know the whole bit. Make sure to turn on those post notifications too, just to give you guys a heads up of when we post. And lastly, don't forget to send us your comments. We always want to improve as a podcast, so your feedback is always greatly appreciated. So once again, this is Nick from State Sports. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.